Hey everybody. So today, I am working on a secret. So you do get to be part of that secret. And one of them is the 50 words of prosperity. So yes, I am working on my book. Thank you. But today I'm going to be working on this word, unity. So for those of you who have been in class with me, a lot of times I will explain a word and explain why you want to know that word. And so I'm taking all of that and putting that into this book. So, which if you come to class, you can have. But it's not done. It's not done. It's hard to do. It's hard to write stuff that somebody else can read and understand. It's a lot easier if I can talk about it in class because that's how I process things is exactly like this, live. So if we were in class together, I would be writing this word unity, right? And that is this unit with a Y, unity with a Y, and understanding that there's a couple of pieces that I want you to think about, right? And that is the quantum element of unit, right? Oops, let me work this. I have to learn how to do things backwards. Right, looking at that word. And the reason that I make the Y super big is that I want you to think about that as your arms, right? Of what are you reaching towards? What are you building unity towards? When you think about unity, and why is it a prosperity mindset word? Is because unity is actually kind of like the cocktail of life, that it's an underrated concept. And people talk about it differently, but what they're talking about often is alignment. And when they think about alignment, what they're actually trying to get is the word unity. And unity is more complex because unity is actually the quantum, right? And quantum is like the total of something that means it's complete, right? It's the complete in and of itself, right? So it's the whole being. Many times people, when they talk about prosperity mindset, they're going, hey, this is alignment, this is whatever. Well, it's actually unity. And unity is that the unit, right? The unit in and of itself that we are creating, this cocktail of life, this harmony, this blending, this symphony of our lives that we are reaching our arms out to, this unit is quantum. It is a thing in and of itself. And that is what you are looking at, right? When we look at prosperity, it is a unit in and of itself. So when you think about it, it's a closeness. And what are you trying to build? We are building unity in the people around us, the things that we are growing, our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings. We're trying to do this orchestration that is ridiculously complex. When I took on the journey of saying I'm going to just look at one word, I was actually looking at the opposition of two words, because for those of you who've known me for a long time, one, I'm an old person that looks like a young person, so I've been around a long time. But I came out of um, a very um, a very thought. Uh, so I came out of research. So I was very much I solved the world in a puzzle, right? I solved the world with math, but I didn't understand that I was always looking for the how an equation functioned. And so when I think about unity or how we are doing things. And 25 years ago, I said, I'm just going to look at the opposition of two words, and that was wealth and prosperity. And it is 25 years ago that I went, oh, yeah, like this dog eared version of prosperity that the world is teaching is actually not in depth. It's actually misaligned, and it doesn't actually give anybody the tools of how to do it. There isn't a how-to guide. There's all these little bits that people are kind of putting together, but they don't actually have the whole thing. And the whole thing is based on this one item. So a lot of times you'll see me go, okay, we're going to talk about unity. And why is unity a problem? And what is your role? Why do you want unity? And you want unity because it's the cocktail of your life, and it is um, this convergence of goodness. It's the blending of all of the things so that it becomes something different, right? When I think about putting a, a very complex cocktail together, it's never the same if you only have one or two or three ingredients. It is the blending, it is the convergence. And all of those things together is what makes that cocktail great. So for those of you who old school, right? I mean, I was running with a friend, and here's one of the superpowers that you might not know that I have, but I have, which is if you give me a request, because I've traveled so much and I've had to find resources everywhere, um, a lot of times I'll go, oh, okay, my husband is an ultra marathoner. So we are marathoning across the United States all the time. And his friend Eric was testing my superpowers. And it was around a cocktail. And so we are like, I think we were in North Dakota. And he says, I'm going to run this race, a whole marathon. I don't know if it's going to be my last one because, right, I'm an older person that looks like a younger person. And Eric is a much older person than me. And he's like, look, I'm going to run this marathon. And afterwards, I want a perfect Manhattan, which is a cocktail. So he wanted, like, the vision that he had was, I want to run this race. I'm going to go back. I'm going to shower. And then I want this perfect blended cocktail. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll put your wish in. We'll see how I do. And he had heard my husband asking about this wish making thing, right? Like, you know what? I need a fish taco or I needed this. Like, he'll think of something that he needs. I mean, one day it was fried chicken livers, and we were like going across the country, and it was fried chicken livers and some cherry pie. I'm like, oh, game on, right? We're driving. Do you need it? Like, give me some time. And we found it, right? So sometimes, right, becoming aligned to strangeness is sometimes a way to test your own superpowers. But again, right, it is that it's the mixture of the things. So as it happened, of course, right, this everything aligned, and we get to this place that specializes in a perfect Manhattan. And we get there, and I tell the story to the person who's waiting on us, and she goes, oh, well, let me tell you why that is. It is because my grandfather, that is his favorite drink. And as I was growing up and as I was doing this, he always talked about you had to have perfect Manhattan. Had to have the right amount of shake, the right amount of stir, the right amount of glass, the right that it had to have all these elements together. And then this orchestration would be served to be consumed over time because a Manhattan is something that you sip. And so they had special ice that they used for it. They had special glasses. They had this whole section. And she's like, let me make you my grandfather's Manhattan. And he sat back in that chair and he, first of all, he first gave me credit, which I didn't get, I shouldn't have had. I just found it, but they were the magicians. And so he's like, oh my gosh, this is a perfect Manhattan. She's like, yep, that's my magic. So right, that when you look at it, it was all of these layers of things. And when we are building unity, it is that our unit of self, right? Why are we doing it? Right? Why are we doing this? We're doing this because we're looking for harmony. We're looking for significant change and improvement that is a thing of itself. Let me repeat that. We are looking for something that is significant or a change or an improvement that is quantum. It is a thing of itself. So when you are thinking about these items that you're building, I remind people that sometimes fitness is unity, right? That our ability is to be able to blend ourselves with our environment. We have to be healthy. We have to be able to be in the world. If you are not fit to be able to do something, you can't be in unity with it. So you're looking for an evenness of form, that a quantum is something that is. It is a complete in and of itself. For most of us, that is our that we are whole. that a lot of times you're fixing things within yourself because you're trying to get the correspondence with why something is off-putting so that you can find unity, that your unit knows its why. Did you get that? Your unit knows its why. And that means that we are on equal terms. It's also really efficient, that you can move through the world a lot more efficiently if you understand your whole being, and that your whole being, they call it alignment, but it is that it's unit, that the unit itself knows its why. And when we do that, we understand the quantum. The quantum is the total amount of something that is complete and of itself. So when you're thinking about your peace, I would think about your spiritual union with ourselves, with the closeness with yourself. Are you actually on equal terms with what you're doing? And by the way, you can probably hear the dog barking in the background because we don't have any heat today. So the furnace man is coming to give us a new furnace. So there it is. There's the fun of my life, chaos in the background while we're talking about unity. It's a lot. It's a lot of fun here in Prosperity Land. But going back to the cocktail of your life, you want to be able, in prosperity mindset, to build that collage of goodness. And when you think of a collage, it is many, 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 many things that become one. And the collage of your life becomes its own entity. And that is by you blending, by you orchestrating, by you sometimes compromising. And really it's that evenness of form. But you have to have a correspondence with your own wisdom. You have to be able to say, yes, this is my truth. This is what I'm here to build. And that we are building you, that you and of yourself are a complete thing. And that's the magic. So when we are talking about words in general, and you watch me write things on the board, a lot of times I'm writing them there because I want you to have that brain set of, why is she using that word? And doesn't she really mean alignment? And I don't. That alignment is the outcome of unity. And that's the outcome. But the reality is that we all have to start back here of, how do you actually build alignment? They always go, get an alignment, think about it, whatever. Well, but they don't actually tell you the thesis of that. And the thesis of that is, right, that this is the cocktail of your life. And all of those parts have to mix in and be perfect so that when you take the sip of it, it is your truth. It is your truth. And I don't know, I don't know if I remember telling you this, but you're complex. You are not an easy thing to figure out. You've had an experience that's like no other. So, and you've done a lot of stuff. So your complexity is your challenge. That all of the things that you have done in your life and in your world, and the things that you're attracted to, and your personality type and your situation and your culture and all of that, that's a lot to figure out. It's a lot to figure out. That's why it's a practice. That's why we practice. We practice our life. And to do that, you actually have to think about it. You actually have to have a correspondence with your thoughts and ideas. And that's why we have journaling, right? You have to actually be on equal terms with what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what your actions are, and then it becomes this whole. We have to have unity. So thanks for coming. Thanks for coming to class. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for writing stuff down in the thing. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing this with your friend. That thanks for putting this in the collage of your goodness. And thanks to Sheila for these earrings. Like this is this is exactly what we mean of a little jing jangly, right? That it's not the one thing of this jangly earring. It's that it's a complete item in and of itself, right? This is the quantum of my earring, is all of these parts together working in unity. They're all sparkling and fabulous. And there happens to be a set. I haven't lost one yet. It hasn't flipped off. So as long as I can have them, I'm just going to keep wearing them because that's fun. Have a great day. Thank you for showing up. This is important work. This is sacred work. This is your future. And and I think you're doing a good job. I think that you are really I think that you're worth it. And I think that you taking the time to kind of look at what the colors and the palettes and all of the things that are in your life is time well spent. So I am honored to be here with you. And, go play around today. Go think about your stuff. Unity, right? What is, you are a unit. You are the quantum of your life. You are a thing in and of itself. Have a great day.